Hi everyone, welcome into Universal Beauty, and today I'm going to be showing you how to achieve this Valentine's Day look using the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette, which looks like this. And we're also going to be using the blush and highlighter palette. So these two together, just to achieve this nice Valentine's Day look, if you kind of wanted to find out how to use these different colors together to get something that looks good. So keep on watching if you want to see. Okay, so now I have cleansed and moisturized my face, so we can just get on with it. First things first, every time I watch, a lot of times when I watch a tutorial, people will be demonstrating and they'll just take like a little piece of hair and clip it back. I mean, everybody's trying to look cute, right? But I need to see everything that's happening. So I'm going to do that for you because I just feel like it's necessary. So I'm taking a hairband and I'm going to get all the hair off my face so that you can watch or follow along or do what you do. Okay, so there we go. First things first is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I always start with that. You just need a tiny little bit on your finger like this. I rub my two ring fingers together and begin by just hitting that whole lid area nice and gently, getting that inner corner and even underneath a little bit. Okay, so that Shadow Insurance stuff, it's pretty great. I find that if I don't use it, that's when you tend to get a crease in the middle of the day, that kind of thing. So for a primer today, I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and use the Tatcha Silk Canvas, this one here. Yeah, this is a great primer, and a little goes a long way. You can use your finger or you can use the little tool that they provide, which I kind of like because I don't like getting this stuff under my nails. But anyway, you don't need too much, just a little bit, and kind of emulsify that in between your fingers, or any primer of your choice actually. And then you just want to, you know, get a layer down on your face, right? This helps to really minimize pores and accepts your foundation so much more nicely when you've got a primer in place. And Tatcha is a great one. Okay, so the next thing, I think today we're just going to use a lot of Urban Decay products. You know, you can skip around and do what, but well, I thought since we were doing Naked Cherry, let's go ahead and just use a lot of products from Naked. And I'll start off with, let me see here. This one, okay, the Naked Skin Foundation. The color that I'm using is shade 7.0, and it's a little touch on the tan side. I don't know if I should have maybe matched a little bit under, but this still works out for me. Now there's a number of ways you can do this, just on your skin with your blending tool or your brush or however, your fingers, however you like to do it, or you can mix with the velvetizer, which we talked about before, and it forms into more of a mousse that you can control that way. I think I'm going to go in today and just use this as liquid, and just, you know, a little bit on my hand here, using my blending tool, and just gonna start getting in there. So it's a pretty good match actually. It's maybe just a shade darker than I might usually do. This will certainly extend into the summer when we get, you know, out and get a little sun on yourself or whatever. By the way, my moisturizer that I used has an SPF 30 in it, so that's like down underneath all this, and you know, I just wouldn't leave the house without some type of SPF protection. Okay, so just going into the forehead. Don't be really too afraid to just go ahead and blend this over everything, because, you know, your shadow will be covering it. Even if it gets into your hair, that cleanup can come a little bit later. But when you've got a shade like this where it's just a tad darker, you want to hit your neck too, because you don't want that line of demarcation, because that is just, nobody wants to see that. So get your earlobe too if you're going to be wearing your hair back or up or something like that. You want to be able to really get everything done. Okay. All right. If you feel so inclined to use a concealer, you can use it under foundation or over. It's really entirely up to you. I think I'm just going to, you want that too, like just a shade lighter than your foundation to brighten up your under eye. I'm going to use the Edward Best Black Sea Extreme Cover Cream. And this is in the color medium that I'm going to be using. So you can use the brush, or you can just, I take just a tad, like a small bit on my ring finger and just pat underneath. And instead of like your inclination to go inward, I'll go outward. And it just kind of helps out with, you know, not maybe caking as much. Again, if you are a younger person, you're not going to have the issue with that so much. But, you know, if you do, if your skin is like, you know, has some lines to it, you don't want this stuff settling into lines. So first things first, get it in place. It just brightens it up a little bit. And then come in with your blending tool that's still damp, and again, move from the inside out and just set that in place. You can, you know, you can get a really much closer look and make sure that that's not getting in any lines or anything. Okay, so having said that, now let this dry down just for a little bit and move on. Now we're using the Naked Cherry palette today. This is Urban Decay. This is their latest one. It's so beautiful. The colors in here are so lovely, but a lot of times people will be like, well, what am I supposed to do with these? Well, it's a great, beautiful Valentine look, so we'll get started with that. First thing I do is this brush is by Bare Minerals, and it's a large kind of a paddle brush, and I'm going into this first color here. It looks very white, it's reading very white on camera, but it's more, it's got a little more of a peachy tone to it. So this one, it's just to go over the entire lid. You don't need much, just a little. And just sweep it over the eye from the brow to the lash line, and it just kind of evens up skin tone and just makes everything ready to accept color. It'll all be covered up, and you think, well, that's a pointless step then. Not really, because your shadow builds up so much more nicely when it's layered. You'll be surprised if you don't do this already. So that's just to even up the skin tone and get everything on the same page. Next, I'm going in with this Morphe brush. It's a fluffy brush, and you know what? There's no number on it because it came in a kit, but it should be easy enough to find. It's just, it's pretty fluffy. That is the color right next to Hotspot, is called Caution, and it's again just a slightly deeper latte shade. And that one, we're coming up over the top and into the crease, just starting to build this color. You know, just really, really blending, blending, blending. That's always the key with shadow. You know, you just want to keep blending. All right, once again, Caution on this side. Try to keep your brush sort of, you know, I'm going to show you with my left hand, angled downward. Instead of doing this, do this. Okay, I'm switching back to my correct hand, but I just wanted to point that out to you, that it's kind of a little bit better approach if you kind of blend downward than upward. All right, so got all that going. Okay, so then from there, I'm going to go in with my Sigma E44 brush. It looks like this. And it's going to go into the color Feels, which is this one right here. And so now we're sort of starting to move into the more pinky part of things. And we're just getting a little unloaded onto our brush, and we're going to go over that and start moving it down closer to the lid. It's not too pinky yet. It's still blending with the other kind of beige tones. You know, you can see it, but it's not really even part of the final outcome. This is, again, we're just layering these, and the other colors will be kind of going over that. But anyway, so you're hitting your lid and you're going like kind of under your crease here, okay? And a lot of this stuff tends to look messed up when you're first doing it, but then it becomes much better later. All right, so then here, this one is a Sigma blending brush. It's an E25 brush, and this one looks like that. I'm now moving on to the color called Bing, which is much darker. It's this one here. All right, so now we're going into Bing. Loading our brush. And we're going to kind of, again, do the same thing. Going under and hitting the whole lid. Blending, blending, blending. Kind of just getting that color in place. Bing, that's a really pretty color too. And you can, of course, go lighter. I do tend to go dark on my eyes because I like it that way, but also, again, the more fair you are, you may want to like lighten that up. If you have like a deeper skin tone, boy, you can really go to town on these and just, you know, really load color, because your skin, it will look so, so good on that. All right. All right, so at this point, I like to go in with what I call my dedicated blending brush. And I didn't pull it out, so I'm okay. Mine's a Smashbox one. I've had this for like a million years. It just looks like this, and I never dip this into any shadow. All I do with this is blend, using it to blend. So all these colors, you just start swirling around, because you want to blur out any hard lines and weird edges and keep that looking very smooth. The big lines of transition, it's great if you're doing a cut crease or something like that, but when you're just trying for a regular kind of look, or even, you know, a going out kind of look, I think you just want these lines blurred and soft. It just looks so much better. The other thing to remember is, you know, the late great Kevin Aquan was a big believer in just using your fingers. So if you ever see anything that you think is like, you know, a little out of line, don't be afraid to just kind of go in with your fingers and smooth a little bit like that. You know, Kevin Aquan was, gosh, I just, bar none, really the most incredible makeup artist ever. And, you know, he had very large hands, and he could still get these beautiful, delicate looks. So can you. Anyway, here we are. We've got Bing in place. And now I think we're going to move on to Devilish. What I like to do for this is taking a pencil brush. And this one is a Sigma. It's an E30. All right, so we're going into Devilish, which is kind of a bricky red. And I'm going to come in a little closer for you, because now we're just going along the lash line and hitting that outer corner a bit. It's all right if you're getting fallout on your face. We'll correct that. Okay, so bringing that in all across the lash line and into that crease. Same on this side. And now I'm going to bring this underneath my lash line as well. Now, not all the way to the corner, just kind of where your iris ends is really, I'm bringing it to there and to there. Okay, and that is good enough. Back to the dedicated blending brush, making sure that that is all laying down nice and smooth. All right, you can take, at this point, your powder brush and just flick away if there's any fallout happening. Get rid of that, okay? Now we will, this is a Smashbox brush, and I don't believe it has a number on it, but this is sort of a short head, and it's kind of stiff. I'm going to take that all the way to the end of this palette in a dark color called, deep brown color, that's called Privacy. And I'm just making sure that I'm happy with what's in the crease here. I just want that little bit deeper in my crease. And again, once again, back to your blending brush. I know it's complicated, but again, this is like, you know, a special look and you want to have it be just right. And again, with that Too Faced Shadow Insurance down there first, you won't believe how this stuff will just stay, and then you're not going to get creased up, and you really can forget about it for the rest of your night. All right. I want to just kind of hit that one more time with my brush. Ooh, okay, just fell. I'm going to neaten this up, making sure. Oh. All right. At this point, I just kind of let it be for a minute. We're not done, but at this point I kind of want to get started on my eyebrows to get that going. So the first things first, if you get your spoolie and you just, you know, comb upwards and outwards because you're just looking to define the shape. How do you want this to go? And you see, even if you don't use products for your eyebrow, do you see the difference? This one just being combed out over this one, it really makes a difference. So if you don't want to use a brow pencil or powder or fill in anything with like wax or whatever, just comb them out, and that in itself really makes a big difference for opening up your eye. All right, so the other side, doing this, and again, it's just an outline of kind of how I want the end result to be. Now for me, I'll move in close and show you. I have sparseness right here, and just a little in there and there. So those are the things that I like to fill out just to, you know, make a nicer brow for myself. And I think today I'm going to go in with, oh, you know what? Here's my spoolie I was looking for. That's the one I really wanted to use, but it's all right. I'm going to use today, I'm looking for it. Ah, here we go. This is Too Faced Chocolate Brownie. And this is, you know, it's got a spoolie on one end and it's got product on the other end. It comes up out of this slant and it's very flat. So you can kind of get in there. And what you want to do, the first place that you strike is where the most product comes out. So kind of start in the middle and give yourself a couple of strokes just to get your hand used to the pencil. Then start moving into the center. And you just, short hair-like strokes is what you want to do. And you're also following along, kind of coloring in from the bottom of your eyebrow. You're keeping that shape. And just little flicks to fill it out, and then across the top. Now, you know, some people are really doing like the microblading thing and they've got these incredibly groomed brows. For me, I just I want them neat and looking, you know, like they're groomed, but I haven't gone in for that. So, you know, you might want to do that if you're really brow obsessed. I mean, I like a girl with a strong eyebrow game, but I just want it neat and framing my face. So, you know, you see how this one's looking just a little bit better than this side. The other thing is that there's always one eyebrow that acts right and the other one that just doesn't follow through. So for me, this is my difficult one. This brow always, like, you know, does what it's supposed to do, but this one's a little more unruly for me. So again, I'm kind of starting in the middle, getting my hand used to the action of the pencil, bringing that down, and now I'm moving into the inner corner and just these short hair-like strokes to fill in the sparseness for me. And I'm keeping to that line across the bottom. Okay, and just moving that around. Okay, so they're close. You know, you're never really going to get your eyebrows to be like a perfect match. It's like I just do the best I can, but oh, there's always one that looks a little bit better. Okay, so now I'm combing them exactly into place. Okay, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. I think that is about how I want it. All right, so then there's this other product, and this is called Brow Stylist Boost and Set, and this is from L'Oreal, and it's this gel. There's a kind of a taupey brown. There's also, it comes in clear, but I really like this as my last thing. You see this teeny tiny little brush on the end? It's almost like a gel sort of consistency, but if you just like now comb that through, it's almost like a hairspray. It really, you know, for your eyebrows, or a setting gel, and it really just keeps them to where they don't get messed up. And it's not stiff and like kind of, you know, crunchy feeling. It just kind of lays down, and it just does a really nice job. And it's your last kind of comb into place in this little tiny brush, and just make it nice and neat. And then it just really, really helps to keep that brow in place as we go along. All right. Yeah. Okay, so I think now we're probably ready to do a little bit of shimmer on this inner corner, sorry. All right, I'm gonna take my cream color Sigma brush. This is an E58, and it's a flat paddle brush like this. I'm taking some of the Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 replenishing primer and setting spray, and I'm spraying my brush with this, just to get that wet, okay? And I'm bringing it into this color here. Yeah. That's called Young Love, this one. It's got a shimmer to it. And a lot of times with the shimmers, it's better to use a damp brush because it holds the product better and it doesn't land all over your cheeks. Something about shimmer shadows, they just, they're not always as good with staying in place. So now I'm just going, you know, where my pupil kind of hits my iris, and I am laying down this color all the way to the inner corner for a little bit of shimmer and shine. Okay, just kind of laying that in. Bringing out that beautiful Naked Cherry color. I really like this palette. It's like these colors are just really, really pretty. I mean, it doesn't even have to be for Valentine's Day. It's like nice to know how to use the deeper reds and pinks for your evening out, but I use these anyway. I like them. I think this is really good. I think that Heat palette before this was really, you know, kind of my favorite, but I do find myself being more and more drawn to this one. Okay, so you've got that laid down, and I am going to, let me think here for a second. I guess I'm going to take my big flat brush that I started out with and the same color Hot Spot that we began with, and just give that a little bit under the brow. If you think you need a little more blending, use your fingers, use your brush, whatever you want, and just keep that line nice and blurred. Okay. I didn't go to my inner corner with any kind of color or shadow because I want this to, you know, stay a little bit more wide open. All right, so now that you have this stuff in place, this is the time where you would take your setting spray. Now there's a difference between setting spray and finishing spray or powder, all right? This is just to set everything and lock it down. So it doesn't take much, you know? There. It smells so good too. All right. So that's drying down a little, and I'm gonna move on to a little bit of contour. I'm not going to use a bronzer because I don't think that I need to have any kind of real warmth. I think that this Naked Skin does a fine job of just, you know, making it not look pale and washed out. So I'm going to go in with a contour color. What is this? This one is Profusion. And this is actually a nice kind of kit. It has different ones, and you know, it's got ebony, java, moonstone. There's a champagne and or pale gold highlighter on this, nutmeg, ivory, and peach just, it's not really highlighting powder. I don't really use those. But anyway, this is not an expensive brand, this Profusion. But I just kind of like the whole layout of this. So I'm gonna just go in with a little bit of contour. And this is at an angled brush like this. And again, if you want to know where to do it, kind of suck in your cheeks. You're going to take it from your ear down towards the corner of your mouth, but not going all the way to the corner of your mouth. You don't want to go that far. So you're just kind of blending upwards and back with this. It's okay to get it into your hair. A little more. And under your chin. Don't make the mistake of going and blending all the way down, because then you just end up looking like you have dirt on your face, which isn't what you want. And across, of course, the hairline, get it all in there. If you have a high forehead, this can really foreshorten it for you. Just getting a little bit of shadow up there. Again, your contour is meant to cast shadows for you. And this will all be still blended up. I know it looks a little weird at first, but it does blend. All right, so backwards 3, forwards 3, or Edward Bess, EB. You can use that little thing too. I think that's kind of cuter. EB. Okay. Good enough for contour. All right. So after that, I think we're ready to, again, go ahead with your fingers. Blend, blend, blend. This is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry Highlight and Blush Palette. It looks like this. So we're going to take this middle color here, and they don't have the color listed. I'm not sure what it's actually called. I saw a couple of reviews where people didn't think that they were getting much pigment out of this. I actually really do, so I'm not sure. I'm using my J. Manuel blush brush and just picking up some of that color. And, smile and hit the apple of your cheek with a little bit of that. Okay. Next to that, there is this kind of a golden kind of highlighter. I think you want a little highlight for Valentine's Day, so I'm gonna use this as a Real Techniques brush, I think. Get a little bit of highlight on there. And again, I don't like to go too far with this because I don't need blinding. I just want a little bit of shimmer there on my cheekbone. And a little across here and down the bridge of your nose. Cupid's bow. Okay, just a little bit. Okay. There is also a white, I think they're like kind of an all over powder. Very pale but shimmery. But I'm gonna skip that because I'm happy with what I got going here. All right, the next thing is going to be, because it's black cherry, I like to use this as a kind of a plum, reddish plum eyeliner pencil. You don't really see these too often. This is from YBF Beauty. Oh, and I just broke it. Hang on, I'm sharpening it. Get a nice point on there. Okay, so I like this underneath. I'm going to come in and go. It's a very like a dark plummy color, and I go just to where the color of my iris ends. Again, I'm not going all the way inner corner. If you have dark eyes, large dark eyes, you can go right into your inner corner. It looks very exotic and very pretty. But to just try to, you know, keep your eyes open a little more, or if it's, you know, a more of a fair colored thing, I don't think you want to do that because it tends to look a little hard. So just try that. Using my hand at an awkward angle here just because I want to try to show you what we're doing. But okay, that's pretty good enough there. And it's just that nice color. Okay, I don't ever really use black liner under on my bottom because I just feel that again, it makes it look a little hard on me and drags it down. Probably the deeper tone that your skin is, I think you can get away with that, and especially with darker eyes, eye color, beautiful, it's stunning. So black eyeliner, I like to first take a pencil and I'm going to go over my top just along very close to my lash line, and it's kind of marking it for me just so I can see what I'm doing. And it's not even my full stop. I just I'm doing this pretty lightly because I'm gonna use liquid liner, but this is like, again, it's almost like a little marker, and I do like to connect it up at the edge. Now, you don't have to do this, but this is for me a pet peeve. I really like to get in underneath too, in that that water line or that tight line there. Yeah, this the upper is the tight line. So I, you know, don't like to see any flesh color, so I go in there and I just mark that off too. Now, if you don't do this, this is not the time to start doing this right before you're ready to go out on your big evening, because if you're not used to that, your eyes will probably water, and you don't want that, because then it's going to undo all the nice work that you just did. But, you know, if you're a fan of that and you like to do it, now's the time. Just kind of eliminate that flesh color, because I like the lash line to be very dark. Okay, like that. All right, got that going. Okay. Next up will be lashes. So yes, for lashes, first things first, you want to go in, if you feel like it, with your eyelash curler. I don't know what this crazy lighting thing is I have going on here. It just must be something moving around, but anyway, we'll move to this side a little more and kind of ignore that. So get on there with your eyelash curler, very close. Don't camp out there, just give it a quick few pumps and just enough to kind of fan your lashes up. I've already done this because I don't feel like you need to watch that on camera. Then I go in with the tight line, the teeny tiny brush. This is from It Cosmetics, and it's a primer. And so I have that in place now too. Next thing, you want to go in with your mascara, and I've been using the Better Than Sex and Diamonds because I like the sparkles on this one. Too Faced, this is just my favorite mascara. I always kind of warm it up in my hands a little when it's cold days like today. And all right, nice shaped brush like that, and you just go in and you hit your lashes with a very light coat. I very much kind of, instead of getting in there and sawing back and forth, I kind of get up close and blink through it and just give that a coating of how I want it to be. It's just barely, you know, you're just barely touching it. Same with bottom lashes. I'm just kind of very lightly touching those. Fan that up. While this is drying down, I go in with my liquid liner. My love is Benefit Bad Gal. I like this liquid liner because it's a little bit different. The brush is more of a stiffer, almost like a felt tip pen, instead of a wobbly brush. If you can see that, it's just very, you know, it is exactly like a felt tip pen. It has a little bit of a stiffer feel to it, so I feel like it gives you a little more control. And what I like to do now is I want to come in and take the line that I started with my eyeliner pencil, and I just want to connect it up, not on the bottom line, just on the top, connect it to the inner corner. Just so there's not a big gap. And then I'm just bringing it all along the lash line. It's kind of hard to do this and talk to you at the same time. So, a little bit tricky. Get a little more, but I do really like the stiffness of this brush. It's so much easier to control. Now if you feel like you want a little flick out the side, you would just kind of line that up with where your bottom and top meet and kind of drag that in a little upwards motion, and then connect it up, bring it down, and it's very simple, and it gives you just a little flick there. And then now you need to match it up on the other side. So that's always the tricky part, and as always, same thing with your eyebrows. One eye always tends to behave a little bit better than the other eye. And for me, it's the right eye behaves, the left eye is a little wily. So again, I'm just taking that and I am just creating a little line, the outer corner, okay, and then bringing it down. Connecting it up. And it is not behaving, but it's okay. We can clean that up with a Q-tip. I don't know about you guys, but man, I go through Q-tips like crazy. I have a bottle of water here. I just want to get my Q-tip a little bit wet and come in and just lightly clean up what I didn't do so great on. There we go. And now those are much more matching. Okay. Probably ready for a second round of mascara. Okay, and just again, same thing, very lightly. I'm just blinking through. Depends on you how long and how thick you want your lashes to be. This is Valentine's Day, so I kind of want a lashy look. But I still, rather than getting in there and sawing up and down, I really just like the idea of blinking through it. It really does it for me. It's hard to get in sometimes to the lower lashes with a thicker brush like this, so you can switch brands. If you've got something that has a finer brush, you can even actually go in with that It Cosmetics tight line and just do the primer on there to see where those lashes are, bring them out of hiding, and just move around so you can kind of see where they are, and then hit them with a bigger brush when you're ready. This is all drying down. Okay. Yeah, so while this is drying down, we'll move to our lips. I love an overdrawn lip, so I always do that. You know, it's so funny that a lot of times you will pay quite a lot of money for eyeliner pencils, and I hate it when they drag on your lid and you get that skipping, those marks. That really makes me crazy. I have found a drugstore brand at Physicians Formula is very, very reasonable. I think you get in their packet like 3 pencils for, you know, let's say $12, which you would pay probably more than that for one high-end eyeliner pencil. I use the black, and I use the very deep chocolate brown. There also comes in that packet that I get this kind of a coppery brown that I really typically wouldn't use on this. It says shimmer strips. So that's what, you know, the packaging is 3 of these, and you know, it's just under 12 bucks. It's amazing. It's a very glide on, very nice formula, but this color doesn't really do it for my eyes. So you know what, I just double this one up as a lip liner. I know maybe that sounds crazy, but you know, it works. So it's just again, I like to hit the bottom lip especially right underneath, give it that shadow. Because it really defines right under, and it seems to bring the lip forward to make it fuller. I do a little sketching on the top. All right, it's nice and overdrawn now. Then I do take my finger and just blur it out. You're not pushing hard enough to take the product away. You're just pushing hard enough to blend that out a little, so it's not quite as obvious. And let's see what I have here. I'm just debating the red. This is a Kat Von D, and I also have a Stila that's more pink, so I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I think because it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to just try the red. And this is kind of a sheer color, this Kat Von D gloss. So it's not going to be super, I don't really do too well with red lipsticks, because for me, unless it has a very blue undertone, I just look like you know, playing dress up with my mom's makeup when I was a kid. It's kind of like a real mess on me. So I'm going to try this, and just, it's very sheer, so I think this will work. It's just a very clear red. With a little bit of glitter. Okay. I don't know, even that for me is, it's a little bit much, but live with it for a moment. All right, there's another nice little thing that I like to do. If I can only find it. Should have had it out here. Anyway, Benefit has this great pencil, and it is called Highbrow. Looks like that. Highbrow. There we go. When you're finished, this stuff, if you just take it and draw a thin line right under your eyebrow, like this. There's a method to my madness, don't worry. I know it looks crazy right now. It looks like bad drag, but you draw that line on it, and then take a Q-tip, and you're just going to blend this out. And again, you're not pushing so hard that you're removing product. You are just really gently blending that in. Nice and easy. Yeah, some product is going to come off on the Q-tip, obviously, but you know, that's what I mean. You're just not really digging in and pushing super hard. You're just bringing it along there. And the same on the other side, very gently. Blend, blend, blend. Take your time on this. Just don't do any of this stuff if you're in a big hurry. You just want to give yourself some time. Okay, are we nice and blended? All right, so see, it just like opens up. It's like the lights got turned on. And that's good. So from there, my last thing that I do, Bad Gal Bang, and this is just, I hit, again, if it's a dramatic look like for a Valentine's date like this, yeah, I just hit the tips again, my lashes, with this stuff, and get in there on that under eye lash line to pick up anybody that, no lash left behind, okay? Get that nice and pushed up. Okay, I'm liking that. Okay, if there's any clumping, you have your little lash comb, and you can just kind of get in there and do this properly. Do not use pins or needles or any kind of very sharp objects. next to your lashes, your eyes, without paying very close attention. At least in a comb, you've got those needles controlled, not like if you're just sitting there with a pin trying to separate on your own. Always use a lash comb. All right, so yes, clumpy lashes is kind of a thing I don't like either. Now, I think that about completes it, but one last thing we want to do is take the velvetizer, and this is going to be our finishing product. Remember how we were saying that there's a big difference between setting and finishing. Setting sprays or powders are to lock down everything that you've done. Finishing powder is to create texture. So anything that doesn't look right, again, you were using our damped beauty sponge that we used to do our foundation. Just going to kind of lay that in the top of there. You're picking up a little on there, and you're just tapping over what you've done, and it's going to minimize pores and fine lines, and it's just going to make the texture all over much more matte and better. You don't have to go heavy on this stuff. If you've kind of overdone it with highlight, that'll kind of take it down a notch as well, which is always really like a nice option to have. And you're just creating a nice texture for all this work that you've just done. Of course, if you think that you've hit anything too hard with that, you can always come back and bump it back up. I just wanted a little more flush color on there. Okay, I think we're pretty much done. So now to get out of the hairband. So, and there we have our completed look. So happy Valentine's Day. I hope this was helpful if you were kind of struggling with what to do with these beautiful Naked Cherry colors from Urban Decay. And I hope that this was, will be of some use to you. If you haven't subscribed, I would encourage you to do so. I would love to have you here on the channel. And please give this a thumbs up if you liked it and if it was useful. And if you want to hit the little bell next to the subscribe button, it'll notify you whenever there's a new upload, which I'm trying to keep to a schedule of twice a week. So thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure to share this with you, and have a very happy Valentine's Day, whether you are single like I am, or if you are with a significant other. Just enjoy yourself, celebrate you, celebrate love. And thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.